In epanet-js, we want to make it really easy for you to visualize simulation results. So to see the simulation results on your map, all you need to do is first run the simulation. And once the simulation is ready, go across to the right-hand side on the map panel. Here you see two main options you'll look at, one for node symbology and the other one for link symbology. Here you have a drop down, you can choose which attribute you'd like to visualize on the map. Let's choose pressure for node and flow for the link. Here we can see the map has updated so that each of the nodes has a color that represents its pressure. You can see the key for that on the left-hand side. And the same with the flows. You can see dark colors for higher flow rates, and you can now also see some arrows pointing in the direction of the flow in the network. You also have an option to modify how these colors are represented on the map. The first is the range, which allows you to modify the classes in here and the bands and how many that you're seeing. And you also have ramp, which allows you to change the color palette that is displayed on the map. And finally have the label as well, which allows you to see the simulation result as text on the map. If we take that, we can see that that has come up on the screen. The first one we'll look at is the color bands. So here you can see some predefined color bands. The first is continuous, which is good when you want to see a low value and a high value that is continuously changing, which can be useful for things like, say, elevation and in some instances pressure. If you scroll down, you also get some color bands around what we call diverging, which show in the middle an acceptable value, and then a different color for low and a different color for high, which can also be useful for representing pressures if you have an acceptable middle band that you want to represent low values and high values that you may want to review. We can change the bands that we're displaying. By default for pressure, we have what we call pretty breaks with 5 classes. You can see that represented here. The pretty breaks make sure that the breaks in between always follow something that looks visually pleasing. So it always does 2.5, 5, or 10 steps between each of the breaks. We can change the amount of classes here, and you can see how that is now adding those numbers, but maintaining numbers that look good that you may want to put on a legend. You can change this mode by selecting here. So instead of pretty breaks, you have a couple different options. Natural breaks scans the data and tries to find natural pockets of data and information that you may want to represent together. Equal Quantiles looks at the total amount of data and makes sure each bucket has the same amount of elements inside it. Equal intervals make sure that there are equal amount of space between each of the bands. And then manual is comes up whenever you make any modifications to that and you're working with your own classes breaks or anything else that you've changed manually. You don't have to go into this one. You can just make a modification and automatically swap. So if we're in, say, pretty breaks, and then we start deleting classes or modifying the bands here, that will automatically move us into manual mode. So we can change these to any value that we like. So 0.5. And we can also modify the colors. So here, if we change this green to a red, we'll see it will also update on the map automatically as we make those changes. We can obviously go back and regenerate to anything as we like. These same options apply to links. So you can see you still have the same range, ramps, and labels for the links symbology. But with these values and options, you should be able to display most simulation results that you need and be able to better understand the simulation results that you are getting in epanet-js. As always, if you have any feedback, suggestions, or changes you would like in the visualization options, always feel free to reach out and get in touch with us. You can try this for yourself by going to epanet-js.com and running one of the demo simulations. Thank you.